Marion County until 3:15. There was a tornado warning in effect for parts of Upshur and Gregg County. Those tornado warnings have been canceled or allowed to expire with no reports of any damage. However, we did have some circulation in those thunderstorms as they were moving from out of Smith County and up through Gregg and Upshur County that prompted that tornado warning. Let's take a look at the radar full and we'll get some information here. It looks like from the National Weather Service, they're talking about the storm crossing over Lake of the Pines at times. It's going to be east of Highway 155 bridge. So we're zoomed in here on the storm. What I'll do is take a look inside the storm, try to dissect this for you. Do we have much in the way of wind with this storm? There's a little bit of circulation that you see here, and there it is, right there south and east of Ore City. Ore City, by the way, out of the tornado warning at this time. Avenger is not, and neither is Lodi or Lodi. And then up toward Linden, there's also the polygon or the storm headed in that direction. So the tornado warning is impacting a portion of Cass County, a sliver of Harrison County. You can see just how much of Harrison County is included in that. It's essentially Harleton with the severe thunderstorm warning, and then over toward Orrs and up toward Lone Star. Lone Star would be outside of the tornado warning also, and also outside of the severe thunderstorm warning. Bear Creek, however, would be in both parts of that storm. So we just narrowed this down a little bit. The tornado warning now no longer in effect for, let's see, we've got for Harrison County, it is now just Cass and Marion County. So we've been able to narrow that tornado warning down just a hair more, and now you can see that circulation. That's going to be about 7 miles southeast of Ore City. Lassiter is in the path, so if you live in Lassiter, please be in your shelter right now. And as I'm talking my way through this so that we can look at Warlock. Warlock is just to the north of that circulation. So Lassiter is just to the east. Berea is outside of the tornado warning, but if I was in Berea, I'd also take my shelter right now. Prospect also within the tornado warned box, and as is Pruitt, and then we've got Bear Creek again in those areas. We do not have anything confirmed on the ground, just a tornado or a radar indicated tornado warning right now. And if you're wondering what we're looking at essentially this area right here, and there's a new scan. So new scan still keeps a decent couplet worthy of the tornado warning. But Warlock now, that circulation is going to pass Warlock. So if you live in Warlock, you're okay to come out of your shelter. Ore City, again, it has passed by you. You're fine. New Mountain, Cedar Springs, also fine. And Lassiter would be the next area. It's going to cross right over, it went right over Lake of the Pines. Now it's headed up toward Highway 49, and there's Lassiter. So it's going to cross right over Lassiter as it moves into Marion County. And then likely as it continues moving northeast, it will just clip a portion of Cass County. Sometimes with these tornado warnings and the way the boxes are drawn, you might get a warning on your weather radio for your county, even though you're technically not within the warned area. So this is one of the specifics and the ability to kind of narrow these things down. Also notice Dangerfield is outside of the severe thunderstorm warning. There is the severe thunderstorm warning with the line in it, meaning tornado possible tag on it. So that area, it does include Harleton, but the storm itself has passed Harleton. So if you live in Harleton, you're fine to come out of your shelter. Also Gilmer earlier this morning, I should say, was in part of the tornado warning, but nothing reported there. Storm is now moving northeast at about 50 miles an hour, so it's moving along. Let me try to put a track on it for you, especially on that cell, since it seems to be showing up pretty well on radar here tonight. So 50 miles an hour is going to take it up toward Atlanta. If you know anybody in Atlanta or Queen City, you might want to just give them a heads up that we don't know if the storm will still be tornadic when it gets there, but we do know that the cell is headed in that direction. So there's likely going to be a pretty good thunderstorm headed through Atlanta and Queen City within this the next couple of hours. So here's the track on that, and we can give you a look at what time it gets to Atlanta, about 3:17 in the morning, and then it would also get to Linden at about 3:01. So that's in about 19 minutes. Bear Creek, I'm going backwards here a little bit. So you're about 10 minutes away from Bear Creek with that cell passing through Bear Creek or over Bear Creek. Linden at 301, Atlanta about 317, Bloomberg 324, Domino around 329, and then it looks like it crosses over into Louisiana or southwestern Arkansas by that time about 340, and so the storm would be out of northeast Texas. Again, if I'll back this out, we're going to clear things up here. I just want to I'll play this out for you, and also just give you a look. That's the only cell going on right now in East Texas. That's it. That's the cell. That's the action. We had one cell developed back here, southwest Smith County, up in northwestern Cherokee County, and then it moved northward. And as it moved northward, tracked into Gregg County. Then it strengthened a little bit, got a little more of a circulation on it, and then since then the tornado warning was issued on that cell. So we'll go back, and I'm going to turn off all of the warnings and things of that nature so that I can show you the motion of the storm. But again, tornado warning in effect till 3:15 for Cass and Marion County. So that's been trimmed down a little bit, and it's also been shortened. The tornado warning, I think at one point might have been till 3:30. They're shortening it to 3:15. And then after that, the storm will pass off into southwestern parts of Arkansas. There is another cell that is trying to develop back here toward Camp County. The environment is conducive for a strong thunderstorm or two, not super conducive for a tornado, but you can see that cell did have some rotation to it. If you look carefully at the radar and we place it back into motion, you might be able to see just kind of how it was turning a little bit here from as it passed between Longview and Gilmer. By the way, the cell missed Longview. It was pretty loud, pretty bright as it came out of Tyler. It produced a quick downpour of rain. And now as it moves up here, the lightning increased right in the area where the tornado warning was issued between Gilmer and Longview. Right in this area here is where the lightning increased and the cell increased, and I believe the updraft increased. And now we have more of an updraft in the storm and some weak circulation, at least being indicated by our Titan indicator. So I'll stop everything here, put that into motion, go check that storm out in terms of the Titan indicator. Again, it looks like the rotation has weakened. Still have a decent updraft, so there could be some small hail within that cell. Have not heard of any damage reports from anywhere. Don't think that we had a tornado touchdown or anything like that. Just a circulation that was warranted, strong enough that the National Weather Service issued a late night, overnight, early tornado warning on that. Word from the National Weather Service, broad rotation continues across the western third of Marion County. So if it's broad rotation, that's good news. Nothing tightening at the moment, but we'll continue the warning. Storm should pass to the east of Avenger. So Avenger is going to be okay. See, so the storm moves moving about 40 miles an hour according to our Titan indicator. The tornado impact's on the lower side. The flooding impact, again, will be on the higher side of things. So sometimes you'll have a overnight tornado warning, something like this, and that's why you have to always have the plan in place. If you're going to get a tornado in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon, or if you're going to get one, let's say in the middle of the night, do you know where you're taking shelter? And of course, we know to take shelter in the lowest floor of our home, of our structure, our apartment, our home, a place that's got as many walls between you and the outside. That's the best bet that you can do there. Also, want to stay away from windows. Flying glass can be very dangerous with a tornado moving through, or at least a tornado warned area coming through here. All right. Let's see, we got some Facebook viewers. We've got Rob Williams. That came through us here. Yes, it did. And it wasn't severe. No, it wasn't severe when it moved through Tyler. It wasn't severe as it brushed past Longview. It quickly turned at least severe from a standpoint of what radar was indicating. So this, again, was a radar-indicated tornado warning. No reports of any tornado being sighted or spotted anywhere in Gregg County or in Upshur County. But just looking at that circulation, it does look like we had some pretty strong winds with that. So I'm going to turn off the winds here and just do a little investigation on the winds and see what we had here. So we did have some fairly good velocities showing up here at about 50 miles an hour away from the radar. So that's pretty good. Now that little area that I clicked on was a little weaker than that, but it right in those bright red areas here, maybe 50-mile-an-hour winds, just west of Lassiter, and those again going away. The gate-to-gate shear was about 27 miles an hour, so kind of a broad rotation, nothing super tight, and the inbound winds here in the green are going to be on the weaker side of things, likely at about 15 miles an hour. So, if it was, and this again is shooting from the radar site in Shreveport, a couple thousand feet up, and so it's more likely picking up some mid-level rotation that is a little bit stronger there. So no reports again. This is going to pass by Avenger, it looks like. And it looks like the severe thunderstorm warning is going to expire also at 3 a.m. The tornado warning will go until 3:15. So we were talking about the severe thunderstorm warning. That's the area in yellow. That will expire here in about 12 minutes. And the tornado warning will continue through Orrs, Lassiter, and then on to the north and northeast. So we'll likely get another scan here as this storm passes over Lassiter. But if you're in Lassiter, hopefully you are staying in your safe place right now. Avenger's, I would say Avenger's okay because the circulation's down here. Avenger's up here. It's going to pass and go by Avenger, go by Berea. I don't think it's going to turn to the right. Bear Creek would be that next area there that you'd have to be sheltered up right now. All right, so we're going to widen it all out here and just give you a perspective on where we are with these thunderstorms. This isn't part of any kind of larger area of rain and thunder that is suddenly developing over the area. There are a couple of isolated thunderstorms, but by far this was the only thunderstorm that we've had so far here in the overnight hours. We were predicting a couple of rumbles possible, maybe not a tornado warning overnight. That seems to be a bit of the extreme to what happened, but certainly thunderstorms were possible. And if we get away with no actual tornado warning occurring, or I should say tornado on the ground occurring, then I think we're okay. Broad rotation's looking much weaker now, and there's probably not going to be reissuing of the tornado warning downstream after 3:15. So what does that mean into Cass County and as it moves up into southwestern Arkansas? There's not likely going to be an extension of the tornado warning. Out here to the west, though, let's take a look at this. This is going to be north and west of Dallas, just east of Wichita Falls. I'll stop the radar here. This is the next part of the show that comes in. Nothing warned on that right now out to the west, but this is the line of showers and thunderstorms that will firm up here at about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning along the I-30 corridor. So it should be kind of stretching through Sherman and then down to about I-30 right around 6 o'clock in the morning, and then eventually moving down to Tyler at about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. So that's the Saturday line of showers and thunderstorms that'll come through. And there's nothing warned on it, but there's a lot of thunder and lightning and a lot of heavy rain coming down with that. So that's Saturday's show. The overnight cell is about ready to move on out and leave us. And then I don't think behind that we're going to have much in the way of anything, just because if we had any energy that was available, well, that cell that moved through and it now continues to move into Cass County, that cell's sort of taken out the energy that was available. So we'll zoom in back to that area, and we have Cass, Marion County till 3:15. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning for Cass, Harrison, and Marion County will expire at 3 o'clock. The winds 40 miles an hour inside that severe thunderstorm warned area, maybe a little bit stronger. Radar just kind of giving you a look at what we're dealing with here. A couple of showers behind that back toward Gilmer, not severe, over toward Pittsburgh, also a non-severe cell at this time. So tornado warning from the National Weather Service remains in effect till 3:15 for south central Cass and northwestern Marion County. Dangerfield would not be included in that warning. I'm just trying to give you some surrounding areas where you're probably seeing lightning, maybe even hearing thunder, but you are not included. Douglasville, for instance, right now, not included, and with the way the rotation is weakening, it may be a severe thunderstorm warning once it gets to Douglasville, but and Linden, it may not be a tornado warning when we get to Linden. It looks like it's going to weaken before it gets to Linden. In fact, Linden right now is sitting just outside of the tornado warning are just on the edge of it. But I'll go back and we'll take a look at inside the storm, get a look at the velocities, the winds going toward the radar, away from the radar, and it has broadened out quite a bit and flattened out and it still seems to be right there toward Lassiter. But we were getting a stronger inflow wind earlier, and it seems to be shrinking just a little bit, getting a little bit weaker. So that's the trend. We'll see if we can get another scan here and get a really good idea of just the way the cell has either weakened or if it tries to strengthen again. But it went right by Ore City, or southeast of Ore City, over Lake of the Pines, past near Avenger, through Lassiter, and now, so we're not getting, we were getting from our Titan indicator some rotation being picked up within the storm. It seems like now more so there's just strong inflow into the storm, which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of juicy air out there, and the storm is just kind of moving into that area. So fairly decent updraft, which should sustain the thunderstorm, at least in its present state, as it moves into southwest Arkansas, maybe northwest Louisiana. Does it strengthen? That remains to be seen. We'll have to keep an eye on the storm for sure. But yeah, anytime you get like an overnight presence of thunderstorms like this, that can be scary. One, we can't see with them very well. When we're trying to look out during the afternoon, you can see the structure of the clouds. Unless there's a lot of lightning, it's tough to see exactly what's going on with those thunderstorms. So that adds just a little bit of danger to the area. All right, any questions coming up here on the Facebook? It looks like we got a couple of people. And then Micah said, Ore City is in the warning. Yeah, you're done. It is out of the warning, and I'm not sure that the Ore City was really ever in that polygon part of the warning. They might have put the severe thunderstorm warning in it, and then with the tornado possible tag on it. But when I first looked at that, it looked like it was just outside of it, very close, but outside of it. All right, so that rotation continues to really become harder and harder to pick out here. Very broad. Let's see if I put the ruler on it and across it's at least 3 to 4 miles wide. So that's a really wide rotation. So if we wanted a tornado to happen, it would be about 1 to 2 miles wide. It'd be right. That green would be right up smack next to that red. But that's certainly not the way things are looking right now. Okay, let's go back to what we call just. I would say normal radar, reflectivity mode, where we're just looking at precipitation moving toward the radar and away from the radar, and getting more so the reflection of the beam coming out from Shreveport and bouncing back toward the radar site, and getting an idea of the intensity of the rainfall. And right now it is. Even that cell itself is starting to lose the shape that it had. It was rotating at a fairly decent clip there for a little bit. A little bit of hail back here towards Cedar Springs, over toward Jefferson. In fact, we might have had a larger hail core here toward Ore City. So you can see Ore City was just sitting on the edge of that. So yeah, you might have been in that for a brief period of time, and then it shot by you. By Diana, there it looks like hail kind of hit Diana, and then the hail core intensified. The severe thunderstorm warning was issued. The cell moved up, and even the hail core is coming down toward Bear Creek, and there's another part of the cell back here toward Harleton. But even at that, we're talking about small marble-sized hail. The lightning on this has been really, I would say, not maybe dramatic, but intense. In fact, as that storm was moving over Gladewater, look at all that lightning coming in Diana. And we were looking at hundreds of lightning strikes. In fact, let's take a sample of how much lightning at one point we were seeing. 223 lightning strikes, and that's going to be within about 15 minutes. So lots and lots of lightning. That's a bunch every minute for sure. All right. Let me go back and we'll turn on our radar. We were looking at hail tracker here. Let's go back to, I think storm relative is going to be pretty much done. Tornado warning is still in effect till 3:15. Cass and a small portion of Marion County. Severe thunderstorm warning till 3 a.m. for Cass, Harrison, and Marion County. And otherwise, a couple showers back toward Marshall, over toward Henderson. back toward Jacksonville, and we have some other thunderstorms. There's one there's just lightning striking outside. Looks like a little thunderstorm has redeveloped back here toward Brumley and Gilmer. And over toward Pittsburgh, we've got a little thunderstorm that has popped up in northern Camp County. So right now, that tornado warning goes for about the next 15 minutes or so. So we'll stay on the air till that tornado warning is either expired or allowed to expire. All right, Cassandra, yes, everybody praying. So it looks like we're going to be okay with that, with the storms moving out of the area at this time. Let's go back. Let me find out and see if there's any reports of anything. Seeing some tightening to the southeast flank of the parent storm. That's 10 miles west of Jefferson. And so we're going to watch that. I think that's where that hail core picked up a little bit ago when I showed you. Looks like we might be getting some tightening down here toward Jefferson. Let me pop that back on here. Lost radar for a second. And we will zoom in. Yeah, okay, so there's some tightening right there between about 10 miles west, so right in here is where we're seeing that little bit of tightening west of Jefferson, closer to Berea. So at the area they're talking about is right in here. All right, so that's the area. It looks like the updraft has increased just a little bit here. You can see a little green has sharpened up a little bit. We're getting a brighter return of the red, so the rotation is strengthened just a little bit. We'll see if that might get another tornado warning or a different drawing of the tornado warning. So another polygon that would be drawn and then drawn off to the south, and it would come more in a direction like this. So this one would fade away at 3:15. There could be an additional tornado warning issued if this cell continues to develop and get stronger. So that would be toward Berea, and west of Jefferson means that if you live in Jefferson, it's probably best to get inside your safe place if you can and stay there until the tornado warning has passed. But again, at this point, there was Lake of the Pines. That's where the cell went, right over Lake of the Pines. Haven't heard of any kind of damage from anyone, any reports, and certainly haven't seen any reports of or pictures or any spotters seeing anything. And so most of the Skywarn back in Upshur County, they're standing down for the night because this is really the only threat there is as it moves into Marion and Cass County. And we got about 15 minutes on that warning still across the area. So if you have any questions on Facebook, please let me know. Again, I'll expand everything back west, and we'll look at the radar. And as we do, you'll see just a couple of other additional thunderstorms toward Gilmer and back toward Pittsburgh. Otherwise, a couple of other showers are trying to form. And then if you're just joining us, this is the Saturday show that's coming in from the northwest of Dallas out toward Breckenridge, toward Graham, up toward Lindsay. That'll be moving in our direction. I'll put that into motion so you can see it's kind of the line is growing out there to the north and west of Dallas. This will eventually become a line of thunderstorms, and then that will sag into East Texas Saturday morning, maybe arriving in Tyler around 8:30 to 9 o'clock or 9 to 9:30 in the morning. Tough to tell exactly on the timing. And then it'll be with us moving northwest, from the northwest to the southeast throughout the day Saturday, and it's going to take pretty much till about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon until it clears the Tyler and Longview area. And then an additional wave will develop Saturday late afternoon and move through that could enhance some of the flash flooding that we're seeing. But Storm Prediction Center putting out a discussion overnight and suggesting that really the large hail threat or the hail threat would be the biggest threat out of everything that we would see today. The wind and the tornado threat much lower even than it is Let's see, just kind of reading some comments on Facebook about someone seeing the rotation passing right over their house near Glade Water. Unless they were looking at it on radar. If they were outside, I'm not sure how they would actually see it in the dark of night like that, but that is a possibility. Let's see some other. Yeah, a lot of people talking about seeing. I mean, obviously the thunder and lightning with that storm as it went by was very loud. It was a loud, intense storm. The interesting thing about this is that there was no tornado watch in effect, not a severe thunderstorm warning. We had a special weather statement on that cell, and then it went instantly to the tornado warning. So that's how fast that cell decided to tighten up and have a rotation, at least worthy of a tornado warning. Again, I haven't had any reports that we've got anything in terms of a damage or an actual tornado touching down, but tornado warnings are worthy of taking shelter just in case, because if it's showing up and it's rotating at one level of the thunderstorm, that can easily produce a tornado on the surface. So that is where we come in with these tornado warnings. And even if there's never a tornado reported or discovered, there's probably a lot of strong wind that a lot of folks were experiencing as that thunderstorm went through. Again, if you take a really close look at this, the polygon, the box that we draw or has been drawn by the National Weather Service for the tornado warning, that does not include Jefferson, and it does not include, or here's Marion County, okay? So it's really just the north central portion of Marion County. Southern Marion County is not included in that. Cass County, there is a good portion of Cass County included in that south central part. Does not include Morris County, and again, it moved out of Upshur County, and Harrison County. It quickly moved out of Harrison County, so Harrison County is not in the tornado warning either. This indicator here is what we call the Titan indicator. So it uses algorithms looking inside the storm, and it's basically kind of picking out what's the possibility of seeing types of either wind threat or flooding threat or tornado threat or even a hail threat. So let's look at that, and we'll kind of dissect the storm together here, and we'll click on that Titan indicator, and it has a strengthening updraft in the storm. So what's a strengthening updraft going to mean? That means that rotation could start to increase, and it has increased a little bit. There's very heavy rain in that. Oops, it just went up to a 9.2. Let me clear that area out there. That's a big jump. That's a big jump. So we might have had a strengthening of that cell, and if we did, we may see an extension of the tornado warning. All right, so let's go back, and let me go to the other products here, and we will turn off the storm track for now. And it does look like it has increased a little bit right near Prospect. Looks like we got a tightening little couplet around the Berea area between Burford and Berea, west of Prospect. So if you live in those areas, please, I'd take shelter, even though you're not technically in the tornado warning. That has really increased in intensity and rotation. That's going to be southwest of Prospect. So if you live in Prospect, please be in your shelter. In Pruitt, same holds true. If you live anywhere along Highway 59, please get to your shelter. In Berea, you should be in your shelter right now. Burford, I would also take shelter until the cell has passed by you. But that tornado warning might get extended. That has really strengthened in that area there. So pretty good outbound flow of winds. Inbound looks like it's trying to tighten up just a little bit. I can inspect that and give you more of an idea of what we're going to look at and see if this tightens up even farther. But that's certainly something to keep an eye on. Let's see if the Weather Service, I'm sure they are already all over it. They are watching the hook in the reflectivity northwest of Jefferson, but the circulation showing up in the storm relative wind field is displaced from the reflectivity. Yeah, so they could be looking at some side lobe issues. Side lobe issues would be, possibly caused by hail or heavy rainfall within that cell. So I'll go back to this. There should be somewhat of a kind of a hook And what I may need to do is turn on, yeah, okay. We were getting some contamination from surrounding radars that were feeding into the, there it is. See that right in there toward Berea? You got a nice little hook echo trying to develop. And we have another tornado warning issued. This is going to be for Marion and Cass County. And this is going to be, what, an extension until 3:45. So they've extended this out to 3:45, given that new rotation that has just showed up. Tornado warning coming from so it may just be Marion County. They have Cass County included in that. Okay. So Cass and Marion till 3:45 o'clock or 3:45 in the morning. All right, so there you go, a little extension, but this time it moved south, and here's the hook echo. There's the hook. So right in here would be the area where we could possibly have, well, it's where we have the rotation. So if we were gonna have a tornado touchdown, it would be in that area. Jefferson is outside of that. It's north and west of Jefferson. By the way, Lassiter, you're fine. If you were in shelter and watching on our, streaming on our app, and by the way, thank you everyone watching our CBS 19 Plus stream, our YouTube stream, and on the Facebook page. But if you live in Lassiter, you're okay to come out of your shelter. The cell itself has passed by you and is now continuing to move eastward. So things should be a lot quieter in Lassiter soon here. I am going to notice there's a lot of lightning with this storm, but I just want to get a better look at what we're seeing. And you can see with me here, let's see if I can put the arrow on and give you an idea of the pointer. What we're looking at is essentially right in here. Okay, so there's the hook echo. That's a well-defined hook. And then, of course, the next, it may be shifting over here. It was displaced a little bit from the main wind field. So let's see if this, yeah, it's still a little bit displaced. It's not exactly, oh my goodness, yeah, that got tighter. That got tighter. Right there at Prospect. I hope everyone is in their shelter at Prospect. We've got a decent looking couplet right there near Prospect. By the way, National Weather Service is also talking about a tornado watch being issued. Most likely, it would appear that we'd be talking about an area from where it currently, for where this cell is, northeastward. Now, I'm not sure if they'll extend it back toward parts of East Texas. There's not a lot going on right now, but sometimes you'll get watches that'll be drawn around, or areas where they think possibly more of another tornado threat could develop in the overnight hours. But for the time being, we'll keep an eye and see if where this watch gets issued. But let's stay on this cell right here. That's Prospect, and that is a pretty tight couplet. That is probably the strongest couplet that we've seen going back to maybe last October and maybe even last May. So we will see. Hopefully everyone is in your shelter in Prospect. Again, lowest floor of your building that you can get to, away from windows, most interior part of your apartment or your house. And stay there until that cell has passed. Probably is really loud with thunder, rain coming down, and the wind also being a possibility. Let me check out what we call our debris tracker here and see if there's any debris being picked up by this cell. I have to turn off the lightning to be able to see that, because there is a lot of lightning. Yeah, there's a little bit. There's a little bit of, let's call it meteorological. So all the purples are going to be rain and precipitation that is shaped the same, has the same sort of size. And so all those purples and reds are likely raindrops, bigger raindrops. Could be some hail in here, but then you get to green. So green usually means that we've got either some kind of tree limb, some sort of branch or something that's maybe been knocked down by the wind. And so as a result of that, right in there at Prospect, please be in your safe place right now. It looks like we've just redrawn this tornado warning again, and they've put it on that Prospect storm for sure. and that's going to take it up to, I believe, toward Lodi and Pruitt, but it would be more so from Prospect up toward Lodi. So I'll have to zoom this out just a little bit. If you're watching us in Prospect, thank you, and please be in your safe place and stay there until we can give you the all clear. The cell moving rapidly. In some respects, it could be moving as fast as 50 miles an hour. I'll put this little track on it real fast, loading in about 20 minutes. So it could be a little bit longer, but just given that real quick drawdown of that track, we can give you an idea. Let me do it again. And let's assume that this storm is moving a little faster than that. Oops. It's moving, it could be moving as much as 40 miles an hour. So that would put it in the Lodi area in about 10 minutes. And then over into southwestern parts of Arkansas and out of the area. Let me zoom back down to that. What the cell that we're talking about here and the potential is right near Prospect. There is at least the possibility that we have some debris flying in the air there around Prospect with this very strong rotation that showed up a little bit earlier. That is going to be our Titan indicator, and our Titan indicator, I will turn that off so that we can get a good look at that cell. It's right over Prospect. Again, possibly some either tree limb. It didn't look like there was building material involved in that, but there's a lot of trees out there, so it could be some trees that got picked up. If this tornado touched down, that is certainly one of the stronger couplets we've seen. Let me do a little investigation on that. So again, near Prospect, please stay in your shelter. Don't go outside and try to look at this. This is not the time to do that for sure. I've got to turn off the warning, but again, we'll keep that on Prospect here. So Prospect, you've got a gate-to-gate shear of 100 miles an hour in that area. So, and right next to that, you're picking up some 34. So this could be I'll call it, any tornado is strong, but there's likely, I would say likely going to be a tornado, but yes, they are picking up some tornado debris signature with that cell that I just showed you near Prospect in Marion County. So maybe a tornado that's already touched down there. It's hard to, we get confirmation. My guess would be that there was a tornado that touched down with that debris confirmation, or that debris signature that we saw here earlier. So let's go back to that right around the Prospect area. We'll turn off that lightning again. Tough to see the lightning. So you can see that right there at Prospect. We continue to get this, what they call a TDS, or tornadic debris signature, right in here toward Prospect. And it could have lofted out some debris that we're picking up here also. So the tornado could have thrown some debris up into its updraft, and the updraft is lofting that out. Let me go back. Let me see if I can. We're going to try something here. It's a little bit of, it's not experimentation, I wouldn't call it that, but what I'll try to do is I've got to turn that off. We're going to cut this storm. Let's see if we can cut this storm with a little bit of a volumetric slice here. And if we can, we might be able to see what's going on in there, right in Prospect. I'm probably going to lose the cell. Got to turn off all the warnings so we can see where we're going with this, and the lightning. And it looks like, now I'm probably have lost where I was trying to find it. I thought I saw a rear flank downdraft on that cell. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. Well, so much for trying that. But we do, I was trying to see if maybe we had some debris lofted into that cloud, but kind of tough to tell from that vantage point, and tough to be talking to you guys and trying to give out the information while we're doing that. Sometimes when we're off air, we can slice those things and take a look at them, and when we do that, then we can look at it in different places, because we're not trying to share the information, get the information out at the same time that we are analyzing. So, and sometimes you can analyze the storm when you're not on, and somebody else is kind of doing that dirty work for you. All right, so there it is. I'll zoom back in. There's the tornadic debris signature west of Lodi. Please be in your safe place in Lodi, because that cell is moving, and that tornadic debris signature is moving in that same area. And again, our velocity is picking up. Let's go back to that one. It's interesting. Well, I lost the. Oh, we got it right there. I'm not sure why it went away. Okay. Let me go back to the TDS on that correlation, the debris tracker. That was our better view there. And it may have shifted out a different product, but it's right in there with that lightning. All right, so there it is. That is definitely some debris being lofted into the sky. So, and now we have a tornado warning with considerable damage being reported, or being, the warning comes with, let me get, so what the Weather Service is saying here is that this is a tornado warning, and they're calling it a damaging tornado. They've got a radar confirmed tornado, as we saw with that tornado debris signature. So you have flying debris. So we're talking about included Kildare, Lodi, and Pruitt. So in those three cities that you see there, we have those possibilities. Here's Kildare. Pruitt is also within that tornado warned cell. Pruitt is also in that cell. It looks like there might be some debris being thrown out. If the tornado is spinning here as it went by Prospect, there's also debris being thrown, lofted into the air and thrown out. It's a counterclockwise rotation, right? So if the counterclockwise rotation is here, it's throwing out that debris back toward Pruitt, and then also lofting some of that up toward Kildare. So there's likely flying debris lofted up high into the thunderstorm, and this has been a consistent signal here right to the west of Lodi. So there's tree limbs, tree branches, things flying. There might be some building material in there, but I don't see, usually it comes out in blue. And it's right in that area near Lodi. It's past Prospect, so we'll see if we get any reports of any damage from Prospect, but this tornado warning has been extended till 3:45 as that cell moves up there toward Lodi. Berea has moved, it's moved past that. This just got stronger. This is the cell that prompted the tornado warning in Gregg County, north of Longview, but there was no reports of, okay, so the Weather Service says tornadoes now crossing the Marion-Cass County line. Circulation is weakening, so they might be losing the tornado. That was interesting because when I went back to our reflectivity, I expected to see something there, and it just, yeah, we're in the wrong. Okay, I got to get off of the that. I got to clear that out of there. Okay, we have to bear with me. Well, we will get rid of that. I may have to. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think we got it. Now let's go back to the tracker. No, we're still there. Okay. I'm gonna get out of that entirely and then go back to radar. Bear with me. We'll get back on it here in a second. That is what the radar, or the Future Skycast, was predicting for 3:20 in the morning. It's not really a line of thunderstorms. It's one cell. All right. So now we're back, and had to reset things because it picked up. I had it stuck in the mode where we were trying to slice that storm, and that just was not working for us. All right, here we go. We've got one selected. Reflectivity mode is there. Boy, that's a messy looking radar right now. Let's see if we can pick out. No, I'm still getting that image that I didn't want. I don't really want to cross cut that in half. Let me see if I can get out of that setting for us. And I may have to load in a whole new radar image for us, but that's okay. All right. that's why I say sometimes we can be on air and we're dissecting or looking at a storm inside, and then you try to do something outside, and it can take a little bit of resetting to work on that. All right, lightning. I'm going to just turn off the lightning so we can see. And what we also need to do is get down to one radar site here, and then I'm going to also look at. We had the tornadic debris signature on here earlier with the core with this, and you can see it's still there. It's still showing up. So there's still that signature. Getting closer to Lodi right now. That debris is getting lofted. That is a strong or considerable tornado, according to the National Weather Service. So please be in your safe place over toward Pruitt and over toward Lodi. With that circulation continuing in parts of Marion County and moving into Cass County. So it's north central Marion, and then moving into Cass County. All right, let me go back and see if we can give you a look at the winds again, and it is still not showing up. There may be a malfunction in the radar. That is really strange. Okay, let me go back to reflectivity mode. And it may just be that we've lost the the circulation within the cell so much that we just can't see it again. So that's a very possible. It's a very possible. Yeah, it's weakened considerably. So the tornado may have dissipated. And it was crossing earlier, it was crossing the Marion-Cass County line, and it was weakening. They've canceled the tornado warning now for Marion County, and they continue the tornado warning for central Cass County until 3:45. Now we have a new tornado watch issued. Let me see what we've got here. It's not going to show up. Okay. Let me. Might take a little bit of time to get this tornado watch up here. All right, so the tornado watch just issued does include Harrison County, Marion County, Cass, and Morris County is included in that tornado watch, and that will go until 8 a.m. So, and then it includes all the counties. So it does not include any counties in East Texas, just the counties where the tornado watch or the ongoing tornado warning is at this time, and also some counties just adjacent where there are additional cells. For instance, the cell down here toward Marshall probably needs to be watched because it's moving into that environment that it could start to turn, though right now it doesn't look like it. There's not a lot of lightning with it. The lightning that we're seeing associated with the storm is going to be up here closer to Kildare. And if we go back to the what we've been looking at here is the signature of possible damage and debris being lofted, and now it's back here to the west toward Kildare. So it could have lofted out most of that damage there. So the best circulation was back here toward Lodi and moving toward Kildare, and now the amount of debris that we're seeing is southwest of Kildare. So that has crossed over into Cass County. I am trying to get a good feel for what we're looking at here. This is, it looks like the cell itself. It's a very small, what they call polygon. You can see that little red area there. Let me go back. We'll go back to radar, and I'll turn off the lightning again. The lightning is sort of getting in the way, but when we see a lot of lightning like that, what it's telling us is that we do have a very strong thunderstorm. and a lot of heavy rainfall also within that cell. So we're going to turn on, we want to see one radar image itself. Okay, so boy, yeah, it's kind of occluded on itself. It's very tough to see and pick out what we've got going on there in Cass County here tonight. All right, till 3:45. We're going to stay on the air till we get rid of the last tornado warning in Cass County. And let me see if we've got any other questions from folks who are watching us here in these overnight hours. Power outages, nearly 2,000 people without power in Upshur County not Upshur County, across East Texas, Upshur, Cass, and Gregg counties. That's where that's being reported right now. All right, mesoscale discussion that came out about an hour ago was saying there could be some tornadoes in northeast Texas. Yeah, Steve, yes, in this area here. Any word on Ore City? My daughter is there, can't get a hold of her, hoping she is just asleep. Yeah, Melissa, if you're watching, I think she is just asleep. There was a brief tornado warning in Ore City. The cell never made it to Ore City. It stayed south of it, and then Ore City right now is in the clear, so Ore City is fine. Why does closed captioning look like another language? I don't know. I'm probably mumbling. I'm at the hospital equipment going home towards Gilmer. Sandra, you're okay? Equipment in Gilmer are out of it. And the cell themselves are well to the east of those areas. You probably can see maybe some flashes of lightning from Gilmer to your north. I'll turn back on that lightning. There's a couple of lightning strikes up around Mount Pleasant towards Naples, but the heaviest cell is going to be way out to the east over toward Marshall. And if you were watching I showed it a little bit earlier, we still have the Cass County tornado warning till 3:45. The areas under a tornado watch until 8 a.m. include Morris County and Bowie County, Cass County, Marion County, and Harrison County until 8 a.m. All right, so those are the areas. And we still have the tornado warn cell here in Linden. And I'm going to throw on radar over top of that and kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about here. So there's the watch underneath it, and there is the storm that we were watching toward Lodi. And then let me see if we can get back to what we were looking at earlier. We had the correlation, we had the debris signature, but it's lofted away from where the main cell was. So that's curious. And okay, now we have it back again. All right, so we got rid of sort of the some interference we were picking up. So yeah, the circulation has certainly weakened considerably from what it was when it was near Prospect. And by the way, Lodi has moved out of that. That cell has moved past that. So it's Kildare right now, and that would make sense. Okay, so this just took a little bit of time to sort of get back into. So this debris here isn't lined up with where the strongest wind signature is in the wind field. The wind field's a little farther to the southwest, but it could be lofting out some debris again. Here, I'll see if I can. Oh, now it's gone. All right, so if anything, there's a little bit of debris. Yeah, I would guess at this point that tornado lifted a while back, and what we're essentially looking at is just a weaker rotation. So we may have had a tornado from Prospect up to about Lodi, and then it lifted. The debris was flying up toward Kildare and was also flying out toward Lodi and then moving. There's a little bit of debris way up here now, but that could easily be lofted up from the thunderstorm itself and then moving away. So this tornado warning in effect for about another 14 minutes. If this continues to weaken, then what we'll end up doing is we'll go off the air, but we are going to keep streaming here. And then I just want one more little sweep here before we toss it back over to regular programming. All right, so it is really weakened. It is weakened considerably, and that would explain why we saw that debris flying up in the air around Kildare. And it's almost got moved out of our area. Let me see if the Weather Service will allow this to expire earlier. Continuing to watch the remnant circulation with the tornado warned storm in southeast Cass County. Warning goes until 3:45. Unless the circulation strengthens again, which is possible, they will be able to let this warning expire. All right. So while this weakening cell continues to move toward Kildare, what I want to do is I'm going to go back and we're going to look at the debris, and we'll turn off the lightning, and we want to see where this cell tracked from, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about when you see that little bright area. See it there toward Prospect, toward Lassiter. That was about just a couple hours ago. Yeah, there was one toward Jefferson, and it looked like there was some debris around Jefferson. Wow, right in there toward Berea, but that didn't match up with where the best circulation was. When it got there, that's when we had the circulation that corresponded with the wind field and the damage. This is a current. So toward Kildare now, our Titan indicator is picking up on what it would term a very strong, like TDS or tornado vortex signature, but the velocity there is pretty weak, so it might be a scan behind. All right, let me just turn that off for us here, because it does not look very, very strong at all. We'll see if it tightens back up again. But, all right, radar, cooperate with me. Oh, we were getting bad imaging. I wondered what was going on. I thought maybe I had a setting wrong. That was just bad imaging from the weather. So the radar was just giving us a bad image. Okay, so let's follow along. We're going to go back here. This is going to be earlier this evening, down toward Longview, right here. This is what prompted the tornado warning near Gladewater. See how that little tight couplet popped up? Again, you're a couple thousand feet off the surface, but that tight couplet popped up. Tornado warning issued, got stronger as it passed Gladewater, began to broaden out as it went past East Mountain. That was about 1:50 in the morning. East Mountain, it really broadened out. It's probably had some gusty winds, lots of lightning, thunderstorms as it passed Judson up toward Ashland. And then it began to tighten back up again around Ashland, and they got tighter. See it right here. The tornado warnings were continuing to be issued at that time. That's 2:20 in the morning. A little tighter circulation here, southeast of Ore City. Even a little tighter as it approached Lassiter. I think Bear Creek at that time. And then we saw the circulation cross over Lake of the Pines and move a little bit closer. Looks like it reorganized. Looks like it sort of recycled, and then toward Berea, the stronger cell developed toward Berea, and then that became what may have been right there. So that's likely going to have been our tornado. So we are going to save this. I need to save this for later. So for us, for on air, so we can show this later, and I can show everyone at home this tornado. So I'm pretty sure we had a tornado here tonight in the Pruitt area of Marion County. We will get crews out there tomorrow. I'm sure that there will be some reports of some damage in that area. We'll get reports, better reports here as we go through the overnight hours. All right, so currently where do we stand? We still have this small tornado warning till 3:45 in Cass County. Let's see if anybody else watching up late with us tonight. It's all quiet across most of East Texas. The only place that we're seeing any kind of thunderstorms is right there in Cass County on that cell, and we likely had a tornado warning in that area. And the tornado watch that has been issued includes counties near the tornado warning, but does not include Tyler or Longview. It does include Harrison County, but just because we have that cell there toward Hallsville and Marshall that is moving through, that Hallsville, those cells moving up toward Marshall right now will be watched, but likely I wouldn't think that they would become tornadic, not in this environment where we've already worked over that one area where we had the tornado warning earlier tonight. So Cass County tornado warning till 3:45 again. We'll stay on streaming and on air with this until this has passed, and then we can get some other important information out to you. So they are continuing the tornado warning in Cass County till 3:45. Continuing to watch just the remnants of that storm as it moves by, and the Weather Service we had what we call a TDS earlier on that, tornadic vortex, I should say debris signature. Sorry, I'm going to also run this back just so you can kind of see that right around the Prospect area, I believe, is where we picked up that tornado. It might have touched down northwest of Jefferson, right in the Prospect area, and then lofted that debris. That's pretty intense right there. My only concern here is if I try to correlate these two together with the wind, it just doesn't match up at that time. The wind field was strongest closer to Prospect earlier, and that was a strong cell right there at Prospect. That was pretty intense. All right. Bear with me, I am cataloging that image so that I can save that for later for study. Okay. And a little look at that. Yeah, okay. All right, let's go back to live radar. And you'll notice that I want to widen everything out. We need perspective. If anybody waking up and was like, what happened with that tornado warning earlier tonight? Well, that moved off from in Gregg County. That moved well off to the east. That did tighten up. There may have to be some inspection around the Gladewater area. If anybody lives in Gladewater and you wake up in the morning and you find some damage around your house, please let us know. That would have been a very quick spin up, but it's possible that it could have happened for sure. All right, let me see where we've got still a bunch of folks that are watching, and we appreciate you guys all tuning in and staying with us, riding this storm out with us here through the overnight hours. Again, we had no watch in place. We did not have a severe thunderstorm warning in place. We had a special weather statement issued for Smith County and Gregg County, and then it went to a tornado warning. It was that fast. The circulation itself just intensified that quickly. And then a couple of scans later, as it moved by Gladewater, it looked like it was a fairly strong cell moving through Gladewater at that time. So where we stand with this currently, this is 3:45, and we are just about five minutes away from the tornado warning expiring in parts of Cass County. And then that should be it for the night. The next round of rain and thunderstorms coming in will be back here toward Sherman and Graham and Weatherford, and that line and that little, there it is, it's starting to make that southeastward move. And now we have a severe thunderstorm warning in southern Oklahoma toward Atoka and Durant. So there's that line of showers and thunderstorms is starting to sharpen up in terms of the wind. All right, so there is. And that's southern Oklahoma for the severe thunderstorm warning for Cole, Johnson, Marshall, and Pontotoc counties. And over here in the far eastern part of East Texas, really northeast Texas at this point, almost into the Arklatex, we still have the Cass County warning. All right, so a couple minutes to go. I'm going to recap what we've seen here tonight. I will just turn off the warnings and the lightning and the storm tracks so that we can get a feel. This is going to go past the last 2 hours, but I'm going to go back to the last 3 hours. We'll start this storm well back here, right around Tyler. In fact, maybe let's go back the last 4 hours and pick this up where we saw this storm sort of develop. And I'll play this out, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. All right, so there it was. This is one of these two cells that first one there. The second one merged, and so as it merged, right there, that's when the cell got stronger. That's interesting to see. So that was about 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30. We had that special weather statement issued in Smith County up into Gray County. The cells merged, they got stronger. Tornado warning from Gregg County and Upshur County. Then it moved up into Marion County, and it got even stronger in the Prospect area. So I think there's a tornado northwest of Jefferson in that Prospect area toward Pruitt, Kildare, Lodi, and then it moved away. And now it's continuing to move out of the area. So that was the tornado warning. That's how fast these things are moving. They're moving at 50 miles an hour from the southwest to the northeast to across East Texas. And you can see if you look carefully, and I could probably slow this down so you can really see the way it's just kind of, we're going to make it go slow, very slow, in fact. Just playing this out here so you can see, you can just maybe make out how it kind of has that little rotation, supercellular by itself. Anytime a cell, and again in East Texas, this is anytime a cell gets by itself and moves southwest to northeast, it's pulling in air from the southeast, right? At the same time, it's wrapping in air from the northwest. That is a natural spinning motion. That is an absolutely natural spinning motion. Harder if these will be harder to become tornadic because you basically have the winds driving or pushing those storms. The winds coming into it is almost due southeast, and then the updrafts lifting the moisture into the storm, but there's no real component of twist. It would be along the line if there would be anything, but something like this is just, and we see this, I mean, we'll see this again several times this spring, cells that will start in that same direction and move north and eastward. All right, let me go back. We've got about, I think, a half a minute, 30 seconds left on our current tornado warning. In fact, did they allow that to drop? No, I got to turn it back on. There it is. In fact, they've extended that up into Lafayette, and so they're going to take that from Cass County and right on up into Arkansas. But what we're going to do at 3:45, we'll leave this for the time being. That cell looks like it's trying to strengthen back up a little bit again. So we could stay on with that. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll send it back to regular programming. We'll keep streaming for a little bit longer. They're going to go severe thunderstorm warning forthcoming with tornado possible for Cass County up, and then they said update going for a tornado warning with that storm. All right, so that's the cell right there moving closer to the Louisiana and Arkansas borders. We appreciate everybody being with us here for about the last hour and a half to 2 hours as we covered these tornado warnings as they moved through East Texas here tonight. The only tornado I think we had was the one in Cass County that we did have a decent signature show up in parts of Gregg County. So if you're still watching, thank you very much for watching us here on CBS 19 Plus, on CBS 19, on the YouTube channel, and on the Facebook page. We will cut away and go back to regular programming, but we'll stay on for a few more minutes here and continue to track this cell on our CBS 19 Plus platforms and Facebook and YouTube. All right, welcome back to the stream. We continue to stream here on CBS 19 Plus and on the YouTube channel. And we had this was going to be a severe thunderstorm warning for Cass County until 4 o'clock, but then they decided to, or actually till 4:30. Then they decided to extend the tornado warning because we saw this cell tighten back up just a little bit, crossing over Highway 43 and now moving off to the northeast. So that'll be, here's Atlanta. If you know anybody in Atlanta, live in Atlanta, that cell is safely far to the south of you. The polygon itself just seems to be maybe just nicking Atlanta on the southeast side, but not. I would not be concerned about that cell if you live in Atlanta. I do not think it's going to suddenly move back to the northwest. Not to say there couldn't be some additional or a different cell that part of it that develops, but right here, this should move almost in that due northeast direction and be past Atlanta in about 15 minutes. So a couple of scans, that storm will be gone. We'll stay on till 4 and watch it move past the Atlanta area. I know we have some viewers who've had some questions, some folks who live over there who have been watching from that area and have been watching the cells as they've moved through there. So again, that's a tornado warned cell. It looks like it picked up a little better rotation. It's a little closer to the radar site over in Shreveport. So a little better. It's going to have a lower scan to it. So a little more, let's say, certainty as to what's going on with that cell. You can see in the newest scan that just came in continues to show a halfway decent rotation associated with that. And just got to think we're going to get a new scan here coming in here. Kildare, by the way, you're in the clear. We're going to wait and see if we've got any damage reports coming out of Kildare. There was some debris being lofted in the air earlier in that area. In fact, the National Weather Service did issue a considerable tornado warning. So with considerable damage, picking up a tornadic debris signature. So there was debris being lofted in the air as the cell crossed through Harrison County, or I should say Marion County, back in this area here toward Prospect, and may have even been closer to Berea. So there may be, when the National Weather Service goes out to survey this, this may end up being a 7-8 mile long path of a tornado from southwestern Marion County into northeastern Marion County, and that's going to be an overnight tornado. Hopefully we had everybody sheltered and everyone was tuning in and hearing the warnings. I know the overnight warnings can be so dangerous, and without a tornado watch in effect, sometimes that can be very difficult to get folks to suddenly realize that there was a fast danger that developed quickly in the overnight hours. But tornadoes can spin up anytime, and they can do it any place, and it can be quick like that. But typically there would be a watch or at least some discussion, but there wasn't much on that tonight. That was a couple of isolated thunderstorms were possible. There is now a tornado watch in effect for the counties closer to the Louisiana border, but that's essentially the cell that grew, and you can see here, that's where it popped the tornado warning. Right there, no tornado warning. That was at, I believe, let me see what time that looks like that was. 1:49 a.m. And then by 1:50 or 1:57, we had a tornado warning. All right. Just getting some email messages. Then the tornado warning came back out. That was going to be at Gregg, Marion, and Upshur County. And then, so that's where that was. These are earlier. If you're tuning in now, if you're watching the stream, these are earlier in the evening. At 2:23, there was another tornado warning issued. And at 2:30, then we had Harrison, Marion, and Cass County included in the warning. So then we had dual tornado warnings ongoing at that time. Let me go back, and I'm going to see if we hopefully we might still have some data from this. I'm not 100% sure if we do. We save certain amounts of data for a certain number of hours. Oh yeah, we still do. Okay. So there might have been, there was no, okay, there's no tornado warning at this time. Let me zoom in on this. You can see the lightning here. And I'm just kind of doing what I would do if I was looking to see if we had some kind of damage. The Gladewater had a fairly strong portion of the cell, and there's the tornado warning issued, but there's no debris unless that's around Judson. There's a little bit that shows up. So maybe a little bit at Judson, up toward 259. Please let me know if you're watching our stream tonight and have noticed anything or seen anything like that. Then we went to a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. So bear with me. I'm going to catalog this so that we have this for future reference in case there was a tornado warning that was issued in that area. So I'll call this the Judson debris and possible debris. There's not really, until we hear back from the Weather Service, it could have been, there could be some leaves and small limbs with winds pulled up into the storm, and it picked up like that. Does that correlate with where the winds were at the time? So let's look at that. You guys are kind of along for the ride here with me as I just kind of search through this sort of stuff. There's a little bit of a hook there, not a big one. Let's do storm relative velocity at that same time. There's a couple of little spots here. Let me go back to the correlation and see if it's right in that area. Yeah, a little bit. There might be another small touchdown north and east of Judson earlier tonight. That was earlier tonight. All right, so, but we will, we'll see. All right, back to regular radar. I think it's time to give everybody kind of a look at what's going on here this morning. It's coming up on 4 o'clock. Saturday morning, we had tornado warnings overnight, first in Gregg County. There might have been a small, brief touchdown in the Judson, northeast of Judson, southeast of Gladewater. I'm fairly confident we had one in the Prospect area. And then we have that cell right now where we currently have a tornado warning up here that is moving across from Cass County and will soon move into Lafayette and Miller County. So we're staying on for about 5 more minutes. We'll be streaming, and then we will say goodnight for the time being until something else may or may not develop across the region. So, but that little cell up there close to just south of Bloomberg, southeast of Atlanta. By the way, if you live in Atlanta, you are safe to just go back to bed. You'll be fine for the night. Queen City also. The cell is going to pass by harmlessly for you. All right, so all right, I'm just kind of reading through some messages here. Any other questions from anybody that might still be with us? Nothing towards Tyler, right? Yes, Lacey, nothing towards Tyler. Yeah, nothing in the Tyler area until tomorrow morning. Okay. All right. No lights in Spring Hill in Longview. Somebody call the electric company. Okay, so light power is out in Gregg County. We did have reports in East Texas of 2,000 folks without power. So that's very possible. Pam Green said she's here in Atlanta, Texas. Pam, you're fine. It's going to pass by. This cell is not going to be headed toward Atlanta. It's going to miss. Okay, and any word on Ore City? Hopefully, Melissa, let me give you a quick reply here. I think everything should be fine in Ore City. It looked like that cell passed, even though the tornado warning was issued and Ore City was briefly in it. It looked like the cell stayed south and east of Ore City. All right. I'm just going to let you watch radar here as it goes on past. I'll try to recap what happened here tonight. That first tornado warning came in for Gregg County at about 1:50 in the morning. We had a special weather statement at the time in place till 2:30. Then they issued the tornado warning for Gregg County. From what I've been able to detect and pick back up on, there might have been a brief. There was a pretty good couplet around Gladewater toward Judson, so there might have been just a brief touchdown in that area, and then the storm moved out across Upshur County. I think Upshur County was fine. Longview, the city of Longview was fine. Gregg County was fine. Then it got into Marion County and got to the Prospect area, and it really strengthened. And so I do believe there was a tornado Prospect toward Lodi, about a 10-mile long path there where there may have been, where I believe that there was a tornado. The National Weather Service will, of course, go out there and survey those areas. But they did issue a tornado warning with a considerable damage tag on it for parts of Marion County earlier this evening. All right, about 2.5 more minutes. Looks like we have another severe thunderstorm warning. Let me see where that one is issued. That might be the storm that we're talking about. I need to fix that. That is not firing like it should. It should give us a, oh, it's this severe thunderstorm warning over here toward Cass County and maybe a little portion of Marion County. So that's the new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued. Okay. Meantime, again, this is what's coming in here tomorrow morning. If you're just tuning in and you're getting up early and you're watching our stream, that line of showers and thunderstorms will be moving in closer to, probably gets to the I-30 corridor here about 6:30, down toward Tyler about 8:30 in the morning. So that does not, it has the better capability of having some hail with it than anything else. The tornado threat here is that anything in Naples. Becca wants to know if anything in Naples. Nope, good. I think you're good for the night, Becca. I will reply real quick, and I think it's all quiet in Naples for the evening, for the rest till tomorrow morning. So, oops. All right. In between storms right now here across East Texas. One storm moving out, next line moving in. And staying on with this stream till 4 a.m. Then we'll take a break. Oops. This is interesting. This is what the high-res data believed would happen here tonight. And yes, it's a little overdone, but it does have a better handle on what's happening here. You can see the storms moving in Canton about 8:30, making it down to Tyler at about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to get a little bit of a maybe 4 or 5 hour break between rain and thunderstorms across East Texas. But that's where we stand at this time. All right. Everyone, I appreciate you all staying with us here for the stream on CBS 19 Plus and on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Keep checking back. Make sure you have that CBS 19 app handy. If there are additional severe thunderstorm warnings issued later on this morning or this afternoon, of course, we will have updates at that time. But I do appreciate your time and your questions. Hopefully we could have kept everybody safe with these tornado warnings, especially the one closer to Marion County where there was likely a tornado and likely some tornado damage. Have a safe morning. Please get some rest. And I think for the next, say, 5-6 hours, we can rest assured that we should be A-OK when it comes to storms across East Texas. Have a great morning, everyone.